Now we're going to go out in the back pasture and we're going to do some fires with 3% and 1% with the E-85 fuel. Again, sticking to that 10-to-1 ratio, I'm going to put about 32 ounces. There's a little more, probably close to 40 ounces in there. And then my 1% extinguisher, I've got about 3 to 3.5 ounces of micro blaze out in my extinguisher. But you can notice with the E-85 that torch is not real visible except initially. Now once that gasoline burns out of it, it burns fairly clear. We're going to go 1%. Again, you want to use that mixing. Hit it at the base of the fire, mixing it up real well. But you can see that just in a few seconds we've got the flame knocked out. But I'm going to go ahead and empty the extinguisher because we're looking for that emulsification and cleanup part of that. Going to do a little walkover. See if we got any vapor coming up. You can see our flame is fairly clear. You can just see it flickering just a little bit. When I put it down there the first time, I got a little bit of ghosting, but then after that it went right out. The emulsification had taken over and gotten all of it. Now we're going to put a little more fuel in there. That's probably close to half a gallon or so. Alright, we've got good flame. Flame's just right there in the front. Where we've got the rest of the blaze out, it's holding it pretty good. Again, you're going to mix it down in there real well. And you can see we've already got it knocked out. It didn't take long at all, but again, I'm going to empty the extinguisher in there because we're working on two things. One is flame knockdown and extinguishment, but we're also looking at the emulsification of the product. This E-85 burns fairly hot also. So I'll show you that a little later on in one of the other pans that we're doing. Now you can see that the foam's a little bit thicker at that 3% ratio. But again, it's just being sure that you get enough out there, get enough mixture, and that'll be sure that you've got it good and safe. Now what I want to do here is add a little more fuel to this, and then I'm going to set it on fire. And I want to just take you through a scenario with it. Again, it's hard to see that flame on that torch, but man, there it is. I'm going to mix it around a little bit just to try to get a little bit of emulsification going to see if we can keep that flame front knocked down. But one thing about the micro blaze out is if you do have a fire burning, it will eventually burn away that emulsification. So you want to get the fire completely out. But I wanted you to see this, that even though we have less microblaze in there than we needed, we've still got enough in there to keep that flame front from being real high. And I wanted you to see how this thing, you can just barely see that flame flickering. So you want to be sure that your firefighters are both looking and listening, because you'll get a little bit of a rumble out of it if the fire's still burning. But it's still going. You're not seeing a lot of flame height, but you can tell as you look through the blanket, if you've ever seen any of the foam blankets burn away, Usually you've got a lot of visible flame, but this here with that ethanol, it's not quite as visible. And it takes a while to burn it out. I wanted to just show you this because on those first two pans we had a pretty good knockdown fairly rapidly. And I wanted you to see that if that fuel is still present, if we haven't got a good emulsification, then you could get some, if you had an ignition source, get back in there. But you're not going to get an explosion like you would with your gasolines with an AFFF, because we've got a lot of that fuel protected with that emulsification process.